Tones and I hanging out. Tones, why the name? I've been dying to ask you this, and I'm sure you've told the story 1,000 times. Why the name Tones and I?
Well, my name's Tony, but everyone has called me Tones, like as a nickname forever. And I wanted to be just Tones, but there was a band in actually LA here and also in the UK that was named Tones as well. And I didn't realize at the time, but I was told that if you have the same name as another band and go to their territory and they have any kind of traction with their music, they can actually stop you from touring.
Oh, no kidding.
So I was like, okay, I have to think smart about this. I thought, well, Tones and I, everyone spells my name with a Y, so put the I in there, make it Tones and I, which also means my music and me, but also means if you're talking about me, it means us, Tones and I.
Fair point. Now, when you show up, in the early days, you're still early, I get it, but when you first started hitting the scene, were people expecting like a band, like 3-4 member group to show up?
Well, I think because in Australia is where I like street performed, and that kind of went a bit viral in Australia. So everyone that paid for tickets to my shows knew exactly what to expect. But yeah, people that randomly just come across me will be like, I had no idea you even played instruments or anything like that. They just think it's either going to be a band or like a DJ.
Right.
But yeah, so it's cool when I get to kind of, see the difference between what someone thought I was to now. A lot of people thought I was just a DJ that made tracks and thought my Dance Monkey was almost like a club track. So I've had a few.
Wait till you hear her voice on stage when you see her live, you guys. Tones and I hanging out. Dance Monkey is just massive. The EP, Kids Are Coming, it's been out for a sec here. I guess what people are going to ask me is, and I'm sure they're hitting you up, what's coming next? What do we got going
on? Well, for me, in terms of unreleased music, I am almost finished my debut album.
Oh, wow.
And I am actually going to release a few tracks off it real soon. So that'll happen very soon, and then I'll drop the whole rest of the album about a month after.
So we're talking 2020, all this craziness.
Yeah.
This year is going to happen. Do you write and record on the road, or is it mainly like just studio back at home? Or where do you do your recording at?
Well, I wrote Dance Monkey in my wardrobe, but I was living in my van at the time. And now that I'm, I guess, on the road officially, I have been to the studio for a few days. So every time I have a day off, that's what I'll do. And I'm going to be on a tour bus in Europe, so apparently there's ways to record on the bus. So
I've had so many interesting conversations about bus recordings because I'm told, and whether this is true or not, maybe each bus studio is a little different, but when you're on the road, if you're recording like a lighter song, you can, if you listen carefully, according to what I'm told, once again, you can hear traffic sounds or bus noises or little things, in the recording, which are kind of cool, in my opinion. Have you dealt with that at all? Or have you even done the bus thing yet?
I haven't done it yet, no. But I think what would happen then in that case is if I didn't like the sounds in the background, I'd use this bus studio purely for demo reasons.
Right.
And then I'd take it to a studio afterwards.
I am mildly obsessed with psycho fan encounters. I wish I could think of a better title for that. Your fans are not psycho. They're wonderful, beautiful, lovely people. But, every now and then somebody goes a little too, Have you had a couple of those encounters?
Yeah, it was actually a while ago when I was busking, crazy enough. I had someone that keep hitting me up on my phone, on my Instagram DMs about just seeing me busk on the street in this small town and just wanting to say hello, or see me at my hostel and just wanted to come say hello but was too scared. And I didn't look at the profile or anything, and I ended up saying just come over, and this person came over, and then I met this person, and then I went to bed. And pretty much I got probably a message every 3 minutes that whole night, missed calls off social media, missed calls. And then over the course of now, what's happened now is pretty much that person has gotten worse and worse and worse and kind of made threats now if I don't respond. And I've blocked the accounts, made more accounts, and sent presents to people that know me, messaged my random friends that they've never met. So yeah, I think the last message I got from this person from a fake account was literally last week.
That's a real nutcase you're dealing with on this one, huh?
This person lived overseas and left and went home, back overseas, and then said they're coming back for me and actually came back. And that's when I left. the hostel that I was living at.
I assume you've alerted the authorities on this. And
Yeah, and also this person isn't allowed to go to the hostel anymore. When I was living there, I guess I'm not anymore.
Man, be safe with that. People, I mean, most people are beautiful, obviously, but some people just, wow. You've been talking about busking in Melbourne, which is, performing on, that's got to be a great way to really get your chops down as a live performer, performing on a street, because the audiences, I'm guessing, are, aside from the crazy one you just told me, the audiences are, that's a tough place to really do your thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Busking is definitely the place you go when you just want to, like, first of all, you want people to notice you and you don't want to wait around for a gig in a pub where no one cares. And you just go, I just got to get out there and get out of my comfort zone and do this because I want people to know my name and no one's giving me any opportunities. So I need to make them for myself. And then all of a sudden you don't realize, but like along the way, you become like as tough as nails. And I guess it gets to a point where like you can deal with so much more than you thought you could, in the best and the worst ways as well. It definitely makes you a way better live performer, which is everything I've ever had, because that's all I've done, live performing. Like, I didn't record music at all. I just did live performing, like, growing up. So, that's so much more important to me. And it's, especially now with my music and my songs and my voice, like, a lot of people think that my voice is altered in some kind of way for the tracks, which definitely is not the case. But it just comes down to live performance and making sure that, you can really sell like the emotion you feel when you're singing. And I think that comes from busking.
Hey, what's the story about other, street buskers? You started to blow up, and I hear that some of them got kind of jealous. I don't know that story, but what's the story behind that?
I think pretty much it started off as people thought that I was taking their money away from them by people giving money to me or buying my demos, or crowds away from them. But the fact of the matter is, like, the town I went to specifically in Australia is known for the different kinds of buskers, and people stop and listen and just go out for the whole night and watch different buskers. Like, that's just what they do. So it just got to the point though when people just wanted a reason to like kind of come down on the person that was doing well, which happens in life anyway. But I think, it got out of hand. Some people made Facebook groups about me, tried to run me out of town. That's what the Facebook group was called.
What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to suck? I mean, that's the whole goal, is to get great and attract an audience and get a fan base, and that's how it goes,
Yeah,
I would think.
Yeah, and then there was this big drama with the spot. Like, everybody wanted my spot after I started busking there, because then they thought that was the best spot. So then I made a point last summer, because everyone was like, it's the spot. You're always taking that spot. And I'm like, no one even cared about this spot before I started busking here. So then what I did is I purposely, over summer, over 4 different nights, went to random spots that aren't even right in the middle of town. Like, you've got to walk like 50 meters up an alley or here. And then I took photos of me with the crowds at every spot and went, it's not the spot, it's the busker. Because I was just fed up with it. And I posted on my Instagram and they all stalked me. So I knew they'd see it.
Oh my God, I love
this. They were
this.
all just guys trying to bully me, and I was like, I got to get one up. Like, just by doing what they don't want to do, which is going to a place they don't want to bust because they think no one will come see them, and show them, like, stop focusing on other people, focus on yourself and get better. And that's the only thing that's going to help you and your career. Anyway.
Tour? We got a tour in the works here. Give me some details on this.
Yeah, I'm on tour right now. And I played the Fonda last night. And I am going to Dallas, and I am going to New York. I'll be back again as well in April. So then I'm going to go to the UK for a little bit, and then I'll come back in April. I get to play my first ever US festival as well this year.
Oh, wow. Which one?
The Governor's Ball.
That sounds like it's going to be a good time there, man.
It's so cool because Flume and Tame Impala are like 2 of the headliners, and they're both Aussies, and I love that. I think that's really cool. Like, it's to see both 2 of those names on the lineup when you first look at it, it just shows, like, it's just going to be music from everywhere. So I'm excited.
I mean, your life is, over the last year or two, or whatever it is, man, your life has just got crazy, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You have blown up, man.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going to happen.
Tones and I hanging out. You were talking earlier about some people claim your voice has been altered, like studio tricks and whatnot. Explain that whole thing, and of course, clarify once again that this is your voice. Is just you have such a unique sound, but it's all you.
Okay. I guess Dance Monkeys specifically. A lot of people at the start thought that it was an edit, but I mean, I don't know. I never thought that my voice was weird or different or a bit higher pitched or whatever it is. I don't know. Never. And all my friends never thought that. But then they're like, but then when you started releasing music, we were like, oh, everyone seems to think your voice is super weird and maybe edited, but it's definitely not, and I can prove it. Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh. Never seen anybody do the things you do before. It's just how it is.
That's so legit. All right, Tones and I is hanging out, you guys. Have you ever been mistaken for the wrong celebrity, Tones, or mistaken for yourself, which, if you know what I'm talking about, happens a lot?
Have I ever been mistaken for myself?
Meaning, you look a lot like that Tones girl.
Oh, my God. Yes, this is such a good question because I have the best story for this. It was the best. Okay, so I did Big Sound in Australia, which is like an up-and-coming musician festival thing. And I was sitting and me and everyone, we went out for a few drinks after. And then this was only really recently as well. And then I was sitting on this little grassy hill with my best friend. And this Irish guy comes past and he's like, you look a lot like that Tones girl. And I was like, what? He's like, you look a lot like that Tones girl, but you can't be that Tones girl, because I thought to myself, what would she be doing sitting on a hill in the middle of the night? And I'm like, and then Kurt, my best friend, he's like, do you mean Tones? Yeah. Yes, it is her. And he's like, oh, let me tell you a story. So my girlfriend, she left me because she said she didn't love me anymore. And then I said, okay, well, that's fine. We were together for 9 years. And then she said, why aren't you upset about it? And then she said to me, well, you told me you didn't love me. Why would I be upset about it if you don't love me? And then she was like, well, I thought that you'd be upset about it. And now I'm upset. And then I was like, well, you shouldn't have broken up with me then, love. And then he literally walked away. And that was the whole thing.
A random stranger. What the heck? All right. Did you ever get a name, an Instagram, anything?
He said he'd DM me. I'm still waiting.
Oh, whoever that dude is, you got to write a song about that guy. Tones and I hanging out. Tones, a question I ask a lot of people, and I love the answers I've gotten over the years. Two-parter. Biggest crowd you perform for. So that's the high. Now the low, have you ever been booed?
Okay.
Uh-oh.
The biggest crowd I've ever performed for, which is crazy, was actually Splendor in the Grass last year. I was a comp winner, and I opened the whole festival. And usually there's about 200 people at this stage, and Triple J pick one upcoming artist to open the festival every year, and I won. And 8 minutes before I went on stage, there was no one. The gates weren't even open yet. I was in the amphitheater. There was a guy in a ute, which is like a truck, dropping off bins in front of the stage. Like there was no one that wasn't open.
The heck?
8 minutes. And then the doors opened like 3 minutes before I went on stage. And then by the fourth song, there was like 40,000 people. The video of me online at Splendor in the Grass with the red on is that festival. And literally 10 minutes before that video was taken, there was not one person. The gates weren't even open. They were just like avalanche, like.
And that happened as you're singing,
Yeah.
the rush of people like, good Lord, I'm going to get run over, basically.
Right before I went on, people were running. And as I was on, they were still like running. There's people everywhere. And it was like almost like a headlining set. But it was just like Australia just wanted to come. And then after that set, they all just went back to the campsites. The set after me had like 500 people there.
Dude.
It was crazy.
That is, I've never heard of a story like that.
I know. That's why I elaborated. I would have just said Splendor, but I wanted to tell you.
That's crazy. I got to go check this video. Oh, yeah. Have you ever been booed?
And in that very same set, they all booed. No, I'm kidding. They did.
They all showed up to boo and then left.
I've never been booed just yet, maybe by a few people. Actually, I've been booed. There was one festival I went and played, which I will not name, and it was one of those places where everyone only bothers to listen to the one hit song. So here's me trying to sing other songs, and in between every song, they were like, "Dance Monkey, dance," which is like kind of like crippling as an artist. And then I just said, "Hey guys, like that's gonna come soon, but thanks so much for listening to my other music." But as I was saying, "Hey guys, that's gonna come soon," some people started booing, but as I said, thanks for listening to my other music. Like I think the cheers kind of drowned out the booing, but people were starting to quickly boo. I don't know. People
that
just
is so strange. Like they came to they like you, of course, Dance Monkey,
yeah,
but they're booing. That's they were just drunk as
super random,
crazy drunk. True or false though? You wrote Dance Monkey in 30 minutes you're in a closet when you wrote Dance Monkey. Give me that story.
So I pretty much would busk and then take a day off and go up to the bush in this little cabin and write music and then use
in the bush means in the forest or what's in the bush?
Yeah, like, well, one of my managers, he lives up in the bush and he had like his next door neighbor has this random cabin thing that's like super creepy, but whatever.
Like a horror movie cabin.
And it's like they've all got really big properties, so like the cabin is like on its own. And I wrote it in the wardrobe because even though it was like 100 meters from the closest house, I still got nervous about people listening and hearing me stuff up when I'm writing music and go over and over again on the same thing. So I like really nestle myself in a small space and wrote Dance Monkey, and it just kind of happened and came from nowhere. And then I would go and take that song and then just busk and get it where it needs to be.
Wow. And it all started in that little closet.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure. You guys, Tones and I hanging out. Dance Monkey. Let's do this track. What else do people need to know about this thing?
I guess the one big thing that, the big story about Dance Monkey that no one really knows unless they were there is that that song did like the most craziest thing before it did whatever it's done over the world. Like it did that in this small town. So I wrote that song and then I started playing that song on the street, and at the hostel they would have a talent show every Tuesday night and I played it there. And then what happened was you couldn't hear the song anywhere. It was nowhere. You could only hear it live, and that's the only place you could hear it. And word started getting around about this song with no way to stream it. And then people would come down when I was busking just to hear it, or specifically come to the talent show every Tuesday night, to the point where the guy that runs the talent show asked me to play it last every single night. So,
wow.
So through the course of a month, they got the whole hostel was at full capacity, 500 people, which had never happened before ever. They charged people on the door to get in, raised money for a new PA just so people could listen to this Dance Monkey song and then just leave. And it was like the epitome of a song bringing people together, but without any social media, almost like if we didn't even have social media at all. And this song just brought people together. So pretty much what it's doing on a scale of like the world now, it already did that for 4 months before I even released the track.
Yeah, this song, something special about it. And I was told another random crazy stat, like the lifespan of a song, like it hits number one streaming. And then, most songs would kind of taper off a bit. And that's natural.
Mm-hmm.
Your song is hit number one streaming, then gone down, then back up, down again, back. It's like he keeps going back up, which is somewhat unheard of. So it's pretty spectacular what you've done with this.
Yeah, I think what's happened there is all the children of the world love the track, and just like they watch the same cartoons every day, they listen to the same song every day. So, by hitting the kids, which I had no intention of doing, but it's happened, the kids love the track and the parents play the track for the kids on repeat. I mean, my friends, some of them have kids and they are like streaming my music on repeat. They don't even know it's me. Like they don't know that I wrote that song, but they just stream the song on repeat. So I don't know. I've hit a kind of a thing with the kids there.
God bless them kids, man. True or false, Tones? You are so good at basketball, I'm told, that you could have gone pro. Is there truth? Is that true?
I played for the Australian Victorian team, so the state team. But I mean, I don't think I could have gone pro because one of my old teammates does play for the Australian team now, and she was a freak.
Like as in draining threes all day kind of a thing?
She's just like, she actually came over here and played for went to college over here and played here for a bit, and they won the championship game. She was a junior, and she got the winning basket on the buzzer. Why are we talking about me right now?
What school? What?
She went to Buffalo something.
What's her name?
Her name is Steph Reed.
I will look her up.
And I watched it, and she got the goal on the buzzer to win the championship. Like,
were you screaming your brains out when this happens?
Oh my God, it was crazy. I've watched it on YouTube.
So you take on, like, you and her one-on-one. She schools you, or can you hang?
I could have hung.
But she would win the game, is what you're saying.
I could have won.
Or maybe not.
She definitely, like, look, there's a difference between back then and now. She was a junior, I was a senior. But I think now, if she was at the equivalent as what she is right now, as what she was back then when I was at my peak, her peak and my peak, she would beat me every day. Every day.
Right.
But back when she was a junior and just got into the squad and I was a senior, I reckon maybe once or twice I could have got in there.
We will continue this conversation. Maybe we'll have a little pickup game at some point. I'm terrible. Who knows? Tones and I hanging out, you guys. Tones, I am obsessed with the paranormal. I have a podcast called Paranormal-ish. It's on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you want to listen to podcasts at. I'm off the deep end. You tell me you have a paranormal encounter. Yeah. I need details.
Okay, so I lived in this really old house with like a bunch of my best mates. There was like 10 of us in this really old house in like this area of Melbourne. And this is the craziest thing. I was laying in my friend Sammy's bed and we were watching a movie. And he's like fallen asleep and I was not asleep. And I was like laying to the side and had like French doors that opened into the hallway. And the hallway led to my room, which was around the corner.
Gotcha.
And I was facing the door. And I swear, I absolutely know this was not a dream. This was real life. I saw like a ghost nurse, but it was like a skeleton-y kind of skinny, ghosty nurse pushing like a nurse trolley, like with, I guess it would have like needles and things on it, towards my room, just went straight past the door, right? Saw it, absolutely happened, absolutely was a thing that happened. Then, like a few days later, I was in my room and I got that thing, and I've never had it before, that thing where you wake up but you can't move.
Sleep paralysis.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, why can't I move? I had to like push myself onto the floor. And then when I got onto the floor, I could move again. And it was so scary. I had those 2 encounters in this house within a week. And I was like, I'm out of here.
Now, was there a backstory to the house or maybe, I'm sure there is, but do you know the story to the house?
Oh my God, I'm going to Google it. I think I did Google it. But I think it was something like someone was sick and lived there and had like an in-house nurse, or I don't know, it could have been like some super horror thing. I don't know. I'll make something up, and then next time the story will be better.
To be continued. All right, yeah. You're going to lie to me next? That's what you're telling me? All right. Tones and I is hanging out, you guys. Your song, I mean, you've hit number 1 in I don't know how many countries. I mean, I've seen a couple of stat sheets. There's too many numbers to go through. Overwhelming. What is it like when you get that call, especially the very first one? Tones, you hit number 1. Congrats. Walk me through that moment if you can.
Well, Australia was the biggest one for me. I was at number 2 or number 3, and then that week I got told that there's potential of you going to number 1 like this week. And then I was like, no promo. I don't want to do anything like that. I just want to see what happens. And I remember I was like so nervous for this to happen. I couldn't believe it. I was like, then all of a sudden we get told like the day before the public get told that it went to number 1.
Right.
Huge, huge thing. And I made this absolute joke that I was like, well, before it went to number 1, I was like, oh, I'm stressing so much about maybe it got number 1. It's probably going to go there and stay there for like 10 weeks. It stayed there for 25 weeks.
Shut the hell up.
I've been number 1 in Australia for 6 months. Australia should honestly, well and truly be over Dance Monkey.
6 months?
6 months. Like, the record was Ed Sheeran at 16 weeks.
Which is amazing.
It's incredible. Like, the all-time female record was 10 weeks. They gave me this hat when I got 16 weeks. I bet the record.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I got this hat. I didn't even know I was wearing it till now. That's pretty perfect. And then when I got to, like, 24 weeks, and here comes the weekend with Blinding Lights. I'm like, good on ya, mate. Yes. Let's get it out of there.
Come get a piece of this.
Marietta's like, oh, it might go back to number 1 next week. I'm like, oh, no. I'm like the opposite of like 26 weeks ago. I was like, yes. Now I'm like, no. Like, come on. I want to move on with my life. Like,
wow. Give me the 6 months of being number 1. That, nobody will ever, I shouldn't say that, but that's impossible. Yet it's done. God.
Wouldn't read about it. Oh, wait, you would.
There it is. Well, congrats on that. Jesus. Tones and I hanging out. Tones, thank you for hanging out.
Oh, anytime. I had such a good time.
You got to come back. First of all, a couple of recaps here. A little recap. Dance Monkey obviously is out. God, in Australia, 6 months number 1. Forget that. It's crazy. Album coming out later this year. You'll check her on the road. Who knows where. Just see this girl live. Just absolutely phenomenal. Your assignment, if I can give you a quick homework, if you can stay in that haunted cabin one more time and record anything that happens and then report back. It shouldn't be, that's not too much to ask, is it?
Okay.
Perfect. Tones, thank you for hanging.
Thank you, legend. Have a good one.
At the end of every interview, fist bump to make it official.